We've had a bunch of people complain about the engine choice that we've made, D16. They think it's kind of a lowly motor. What I have here is the motor we decided to use, which is a D16 or ZC motor, actually made by Mugen. This motor was purchased back in the 80s to run in some race classes here in the US. It's a real live Mugen motor, only has dyno time on it. Originally these things came with about 180 horsepower. Now this particular motor's been modified by Comptech. I'm sure you guys have heard of them. And it makes over 200 horsepower. Along with this Mugen motor, we also have a Mugen header. Notice a really smooth bend. So this is a hand bent header. They fill the headers with sand and then bend them so they have nice smooth transitions. Anyway, this whole setup made over 200 horsepower, and we thought that this would be a good choice. Oh, something else. Originally this was tuned with dual side draft carburetors. We actually have some individual throttle bodies that'll bolt right up to this Mugen intake manifold. Now, we think it's probably going to be worth another 5 to 10 horsepower. But then this happened.
Those little things inside, are those like supports or are they for the seats?
Those are seat brackets.
Oh, okay. So we can cut those out if we have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not like bracing the floor too much, right?
I'm using Chevys where there's box there.
All right, I got it. That would get your 50-50 weight distribution if you had a, you need a K though. You get the motor on the other side, opposite the driver.
Yeah, you fit.
Is that what you want?
Do a J or a K.
Do a J like that. Because a J would be,
Fit between
put the
the
engine
frame
on the
rails.
right, the driver sit on the left.
You fit between the frame rails.
You'd fit between the frame rails.
Of this car?
Yeah. Well, we'd have to trim out the one for the
Yeah.
transmission.
But not much even, right?
Yeah,
No.
I would, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry guys, the Mugen motor is going to have to wait for another project car. We're putting a J in our second gen Civic. Can't wait. Yes.
We gotta cut that much, section that much.
Yeah, section that much out. So the question is, how exactly do I do that? Do I?
Got to find the center.
This would have to be flush against that, so that's probably not where I want to cut it. I probably want to go over about another. Probably want to go over another quarter inch. So, anyway, let's talk about it. So, what we decided to do is this frame rail is actually a little bit wider than that frame rail over there. So we're going to try and move it back. That's going to give us a little more clearance for the differential down there against subframe. I don't know if you recall when we tried the J-Series motor in this, we actually had a little bit of interference problem with the subframe. Actually, I would call it the suspension mount, since it's not separately a frame. The suspension mount over there. So we need to move this frame rail over about 7/8 of an inch. That will give us a little bit more room over there, and then that means we have to cut less off of that frame rail in order to get the J-Series engine to fit.
Yeah, right
So
there.
that is 7/8. I
How-
actually don't
how
want it to be
much-
7/8. I
how
want it to be
much-
more than 7/8.
It's like a full inch.
I need a full inch away, yeah.
How much forward do you have to take out, Brian? Can't you just where the squares or the flat on the frame rail starts? Can you just taper it in there?
Yeah, probably, but I think we're
Start
gonna.
here.
Right, I think we're
Like
gonna.
this.
Right, that seems like a logical place to do it, but I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna wind up having to cut a little further back than that, and then. My lines don't look like I've been drinking.
Good.
That's a pretty straight line.
Yeah, I know. Not bad.
Pretty straight. Roy would have known that is.
My neck is on fire.
Get on your knees, boy.
Morning.
Yahtzee! So you gotta cut off, so we're gonna cut off this inner structure here a bit, so we can push it in. There's an inner structure piece right
I
here.
think we can leave that on there. I
Okay.
think we'll just be able to roll the edges in and shove it in. I'm gonna cut it. We're gonna just tack it in place. We're gonna bend it, tack it in place, and we're gonna roll the V6 out here and take a look at it and see what it does. White, right?
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Come on.
A little more off that.
Like,
Yeah. Hammer time? Is that what you're trying to say?
maybe.
Basically, with our frame rail moved over, the engine can now move over a little bit. We have clearance for our differential down here where the suspension was. I think this is about as far back as we're going to put the motor, because you can see right here that we put like an inner joint of an axle inside the transmission so we could see what kind of clearance we had to the frame. The only thing we need to do is bring the motor up. And in order to do that, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cut a section out of this frame rail over here. I think what we'll do is we'll probably just cut kind of a half circle out of that, move it up, and once we get good clearance, we'll fill up all the holes we just made by cutting all this crap out and start working on whatever it takes to mount this thing in here permanently. J-Series and a second gen Civic. Should be pretty fun.